What's up, you vapesters? Today I'm going to show you guys how to do a standard nickel build in your RDA for your DNA 40. If you hadn't seen the DNA 40 basics video I shot a couple weeks ago, I suggest you watch that video before moving on in this video. Link is in the description. Warning! Warning! If you do not own or have a DNA 40, do not attempt this build at home. Got it? Okay? Capiche? It's about that time! To the build! First thing you're going to need is some NI 200 nickel wire. Right now I'm using 28 gauge. 28 gauge NI 200. Next step, I'm going to clip about 8 to 10 inches of this wire. For the standard nickel build I'm going to show you guys how to do today, I recommend using two different size screwdrivers or drill bits. One, the top one right here is equivalent to a 3/32 drill bit, and then two, the bottom one right here is equivalent to something like a 1/8 inch drill bit. Since I'm going to be doing the standard nickel build in an RDA today, I recommend using the smaller size screwdriver, the 3/32 size, something equivalent to a 3/32 drill bit. But if you're going to be using like a tank, okay, that's when you want to use something like a 1/8 inch drill bit or a screwdriver equivalent to that size. Alrighty, so I got my 3/32 size screwdriver, got my 28 gauge nickel wire, and all I'm going to be doing is 14 wraps, 14 standard wraps. Pull this lead around. Not perfectly even, but we're going to get there. Don't you worry. Press her in, and what it does is it springs back, and it springs back most of the time evenly, and if it doesn't, what I'll do is I'll go in with my fingernail or something small, and I'll pull some of those coils that are a little bit close together apart evenly. Make them spaced out as evenly as possible, and that's the beauty of working with wire, guys. You can always mold it the way you want it. It ain't over until you feel like it's over. We're getting closer, so that's what you want right there. Straighten those leads out. That's another thing with this nickel wire, it's so soft. It's like butter, man. It's so easy to mold. Clip one lead shorter than the other. So that's what we're working with so far. And the RDA I'm going to be using today is this Hobo version 2.1. Got her sitting on this Hanna V3 DNA 40. Insert those leads. Tighten down those grub nuts. And this is a crucial part, which we'll get into in a second. Crucial when you're using this nickel wire. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lift her up, straighten her out a little bit. But the reason why the installation process is so crucial when using nickel wire is because those leads, when you slide those leads through those post holes, or when you fasten those leads down in between the screw heads, it's got to be tight, 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 tight. This nickel build cannot be shaky in any way. Those leads cannot move in and out. They can't slide in and out. They can't be loose one bit, because if they are, you're just going to trip up the chip. It's going to mess everything up. It's going to read that it's a short. It's not going to be efficient. It's not going to work the way you want it to work. So you got to make sure that that coil is tight, is not going anywhere. Those connections, those leads are tightened down all the way. It cannot be loosey-goosey. With Kanthal, it's definitely more forgiving than this nickel wire. You can get away with the coil, the Kanthal coil being loosey-goosey a little bit, but not this stuff. And that's why when you're installing your nickel build into an RDA, you make sure you choose an RDA that's either using grub nuts or large Phillips head or flathead screws at the top, so you can trap those leads underneath there. But if you're going to be using an RDA and you're going to be sliding your leads through post holes, make sure the RDA you are using is using grub nuts. And the reason why I say that is because grub nuts do not back out, and most of the time the grub nuts are completely flat at the bottom. And also, you got to make sure that the RDA you're using that's using the grub nuts, those grub nuts screw down all the way, because if they don't screw down all the way, they're not going to make a connection with your leads. You're going to have issues. It's going to rattle in and out. And the way to test that is look at it, make sure that there's no space, you're not seeing any light, you know that it screws down all the way, and also when I go to rattle these leads to break them off, if that coil rattles one bit, that means I do not have a solid connection and I'm going to have issues. Let me show you right now. And before I show you that, you also want to make sure that your leads are running through those post holes right in the center where you tighten those grub nuts down, because you're going to get a better connection. You do not want your leads being on the side of the grub nuts, even on the side edge, because that's just more of a risk of you having a bad connection. Time to break these leads off. Here's the test. First test, watch the coil. If it starts to rattle, you know it does not have a solid connection. Looking good so far. Looking good. So now that we got this bad girl all secure, we're going to go ahead and move on to the next stage. Here's the thing. When I'm building standard coils, I've never had to worry about hot spots. Never had to worry about checking for hot spots. I just have to make sure. You just have to make sure that when you are installing a standard nickel build, it's got to be secure. There can't be any rattle. Today I'm going to be using this Japanese cotton. I've cut a piece about 5-6 millimeters wide. Roll up the end, insert her in the coil. Gently pull her through. Okay, see how that fits just like that? That's what you want. You don't want it to be too tight. You actually want it to be on the looser end, but you want to fill up that whole coil, if that makes sense. Tuck her in. Screw the cap on, and what I'll do is I'll just leave this out. And then what I'll do is I'll place another little ball of cotton underneath the coil. I don't want it touching it because I want that airflow, but I just wanted to fill up that little gap down there. So I got her saturated. Now here's the thing. I've been building in this RDA that's sitting on the DNA 40, the DNA 40 chip. What I have to do now, just to be on the safe side, is I'm going to go ahead and unscrew the RDA, take it off, let it sit for a good 5-10 minutes, then screw on another device or screw on this device again, and then we'll get going from there, because I want it to reset itself, because this chip is constantly reading. I don't want to trip this chip up in any way. Set this down just like that. I'll be back in about 5-10 minutes. Alrighty, so I'm back. Now we're going to go ahead and switch this sucker from regular mode to temperature control mode. Temperature control mode meaning that's the only mode to run it in when you're using nickel wire. I'm going to go ahead and adjust the temperature that I like. Here we go. So right now we got in regular mode. All we're going to do is lock it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Locks it, and we're going to hold down the wattage up, wattage down button at the same time. Hold to change temp. Adjusting it. I'm going to take it down to 410 degrees. Next step, screw on this cold device. Remember, when you're screwing on a device that has been built with nickel wire and you have it in temperature control mode, you've got to make sure that the device is cold. It can't be warm, because if it is, it may trip up the chip. Every device you screw on here with nickel wire has got to be cold. Just want to make that clear. I mentioned it in the basics. If you missed that video, go check that out. Alrighty, so this device is rest reading at 0.16 ohms. Okay, a little high. I shot a little higher than what I really wanted. I really wanted 0.12, 0.13. That's my preferred, but 0.16 is not bad. It's actually pretty darn good. I say anything between 0.1 and 0.18 is really good for this DNA 40. Got her at 22.5 watts at 410 degrees, and we're going to go ahead and fire her. So I bumped her up to 430 degrees on the temperature control. Got her set to 27.5 watts. Here we go. And I mean, the flavor is literally hot and heavy, baby. Hot and heavy. It is in your face, and I love it. Man, I put like 5 drops in here. I've been vaping for like the last 10 minutes. It just doesn't go dry. It really doesn't. It's because, like I mentioned in the basics, the DNA basics, the DNA 40 basics, okay, this thing controls the temperature. It regulates it, all that good stuff. Again, if you guys missed that video, please go watch it. It'll help you get a better idea of what this thing does. So now I've taken her up to 450 degrees, so 430 to 450 degrees, and I bumped her down to 25 watts. Man, whew, Can you see me? Fog Central. And the thing I love about this nickel wire and this DNA 40, the temperature control settings and all that, is the fact that I can take really, really long hits. I don't have to worry about ever getting a dry, burnt, scratchy hit. Never. Never do. Man, you saw it in the basics video. I put a piece of cotton in there, bumped her up to 410 degrees, and she didn't even come close to burning that cotton, that dry cotton. That's what I love. I could take long hits. That's the type of vapor I am. I like to take long, restrictive, long hits, and I love it. I'm in vape heaven right now, guys. Vape heaven. It's really hard for me to go back to Kanthal. I'm going to be honest with you. It's been really hard for me to go back to Kanthal, but I do it, and I do it for you guys because I know how new this is. I could see this thing, man, a year from now, everybody's going to be having one in their hands, especially the newbies. So yeah, that is a standard nickel build in your RDA. Now remember, you guys saw in the close-ups, this thing is reading at 0.16 ohms, rest reading at rest. Okay, here's the thing. For me, an ideal vape, the best reading at rest for this device using nickel wire is about 0.12, 0.13 ohms, okay? 0.16 is still really, really good, but I noticed with a 0.12, it's even better. Even better. So, okay, just follow the same steps I showed you in the close-ups. Just do 2 or 3 less wraps, and you should be good to go. This is Rip Trippers, and remember, smoking is dead, vaping is the future, and the future is now.